ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ونفس لا تشبع ودعاء لا يسمع ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي آمين. So I opted today, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, probably most of you were fasting yesterday, or some, actually it's amazing because Ashura was different days in different parts of the world. Some had Monday, which most of us yesterday, some had actually Sunday, and some few are having it today. It all depends on the sight of the moon.
So what
Which you usually do it. That's one of the reasons why you do it the 3 days. You do 9 and 10 and 11, so you're on the safe side. Yeah, so you don't miss the 10th. So what I was thinking is something, because we started with the stories of the Qur'an, and something related to this month and to Ashura and to the stories of the Qur'an. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us, of course, think of the story of Sayyidina Musa. So the first question is, why do we fast on Ashura? I hope, we made some... So Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam entered Medina when he migrated. And then he found that the Jews are fasting on the 10th of Ashura. This is hadith sahih in Imam Bukhari and other books. And he said, why you are fasting? And they said, Ya Rasulullah, this is the day when Sayyidina Musa, when Musa was saved from Pharaoh. So he fasted, Sayyidina Musa, and we are fasting out of being grateful to Allah. And then he said, you know what? We are actually should do it even more than you. نحن أولى بموسى منكم. Meaning Musa has way more right upon us than you. As a Nabi, let's put it as a colleague, as a Nabi, as a Abd of Allah, as a servant of Allah. So all this comes in. That's why Ashura, the 10th day of Muharram, we fast. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. But what happened on the 10th day of Ashura this is the beauty of it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it in different places of the Qur'an. But there is one place in the Qur'an where this story is in more detail. Before I get to this part, the first question we always have to say, and I'm sure anyone who reads the Qur'an, the story of Sayyidina Musa is the most frequent story in the Qur'an. It's almost, I wouldn't say every, but 2/3, if not more, of the surahs of the Qur'an, the name of Sayyidina Musa is there, let alone the story. And there is 10, the story is 10 times. The story is 10 times. His name is way more. Yeah, because there is the story and there is his name. So the story actually, and this is the beauty of it, the story of Sayyidina Musa has many, number one, different places of this earth. And number two, it takes us, and this is one of the probably only story in the Quran where we have him when he was born, when he grew up, when he became a young man, when he got married, when he had to leave, then when he became a prophet, then what happened when he was saved from Pharaoh, then when his people turned again back, and then what he did with them. So there's a lot of parts of the stories. The saving of him in the day of Ashura actually came in 2 places only, in the detail. The number one detail came in Surah Al-Shu'ara, the poets. That's where you see exactly what happened in details. Of course, in the details of the Quran. So before we come to this, what was happening? Very short, and then maybe next week or when Allah ever open, we'll go to the other side of his life. So as you all know, he was born in the village or in the town where Pharaoh was the ruler. And Pharaoh, out of the love and the greed of power, he didn't want anyone to take it from him. So he said, any boy will be born is killed. And Sayyidina Musa was born. And Sayyidina Musa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told his mother, put him in a small coffin, throw him in the river, we'll take care of him. She did. Who picked him up? Pharaoh. Honestly, the beauty of the story of Sayyidina Musa is if we live it as a human being, it applies to almost every one of us. If not the whole story, part of the story. Or one time this part of the story, this time one part of the story. So just what I told you, this can be a mother who loses her child, a mother who goes through difficulty, a human being is being challenged by somebody of power and what to do. Just this part. So picked him up Fir'aun. His wife, Asiya, said, you know what, don't kill him. Keep him. He may be benefit of us. So they kept him. And then Allah brought him back to his mother, breastfed. Grew up, left, went to the city, killed a man, not yet a prophet. Then he became a prophet, now coming here. So he came to the prophet in Egypt. And Pharaoh was the king. Pharaoh was not a rich man. Pharaoh was not a president that he's elected every 4 years. He was Pharaoh, right? And why I'm saying this? Because he said a statement, no one else said it. And he said, أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. I am your Lord. No other man of power in the Qur'an we see said what he said specifically. One. And the other thing, if you just follow what he said, right? And then one of the times he says, Harun, he said, Haman is his assistant. You know what? Build for me a huge building. Let me go up and see who's this Lord. What arrogance, right? Another time he looked at his people and now he's like talking not in a very arrogant way, hidden arrogant way, right? But he was talking to their brain, to their mind, to their wisdom. Oh people, don't you see I'm the king, I have everything. Everything is, all the rivers goes under me and is served for me. And you want to follow this thin, maheen, nothing person? At least let him have a little bit of gold. This is exactly in Surah Al-Zukhruf. Let him get a little bit of gold so at least he has a value. This is one of the, and many more, but these are like the idea. Allah said to Musa, you're going, and you're going to go to him. And then there's a beautiful dialogue between him and Pharaoh, and then we are coming close. That time they are society or they are nation of magicians. And this is their miracles. Like now when you come to this day and age, you say we are IT time. So Allah said, okay, and the stick of Moosa. Stick of Moosa had so many functions other than a stick. Teaches you and me when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to use something way more than what he created it for, that we think he's capable. So a pen can be a weapon of war and can be a weapon of peace and can bring someone to highest level and can put someone to the lowest level. It's just pen. So the stick of Musa is repeated. He, as a human being, looked at the stick as stick. وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا Musa. What's this in your right hand? Allah said this in Surah Taha. He said, يَا عَصَايَ, my stick. أَتَوَكَّأُ عَلَيْهَا. I lean on it when I walk. وَأَخُشُّ بِهَا عَلَى غَنَمِي. And I guide my sheep with it. وَلِيَ فِيهَا مَآرِبُ أُخْرَى. And I use it for others. That's it. Allah didn't say anything. Throw it, became the snake. So here you are. This is all in detail in Surah Al-Shu'ara, but this is not the issue. Then the magicians came in and they are very sure they will win. And then the first thing they said, of course, they made a deal. What are we going to get if we win? They are with Fir'aun, right? And he answered, you will get anything you want, right? لنا أجرا قال نعم وإنكم إذا لمن المقربين. Absolutely, you will have a reward. Not only materialistic reward, you will be the closest people to me, to the king. Okay? And very different dialogue in different stories. Remember, 10 times. This one is at least 3 times in the Quran. And then he said, one time he says, other time the magicians speak. So they say, okay. He said, okay, throw. And then it becomes a snake. You all know this. So he threw, and then he swallowed them all. The stick swallowed them all. Now this is the first thing we learn from the story. Immediately those magicians who had the promise of all dunya, who were looking forward to become the closest ally to Pharaoh, those who were all their life believing that Pharaoh is the king, the moment they saw this, آمنا برب العالمين. we have believed in the Lord. They didn't see him. There is no Qur'an. There is nothing. Musa did not even tell them, especially in this story in Surah Al-Shu'ara, the poets. قالوا آمنا برب العالمين رب موسى وهارون. Immediately, we believe. And when you read the commentary on it, is beautiful. They say because they were the only one who they know they were doing magic. Everybody else, they think has a power. They were the only one they know. I'm sorry, were not doing magic. They were just fooling people. So when they saw that their foolishness or their lack of power was overcome immediately came to them, he is different. He is someone. Immediately. قالوا آمنا برب العالمين رب موسى وهارون. Now I want you to feel this. What is Fir'aun? Now this is in public. Subhanallah, how Allah make things for people, what they plan and what they do, turned against them. Because Fir'aun asked for this to be public. He called him and says, you know what? And this is in Surah Taha. You know what? Let's make this public. Let's get everybody. قال موعدكم يوم الزينة. We were going to plan this day, this time. ويحشر الناس ضحى. And we're going to bring everybody in the morning. So Fir'aun's loss was public. La ilaha illallah. Was public in front of everyone. It's not one or two. So his response, now there is ego, there is loss of power, there's loss of control. And Allah knows if inside him he knew, and we don't know this, but probably inside him he knew he was prophet. But his ego. And then of course, I'm going to kill you. I am going to torture you. And if you read the torture, when I always remind myself, what did we go through to believe in Allah? And he said, I am going to torture you in a way. Each person, right side, I will chop the right hand. And in the other side, I will chop the left leg. And the other person, I'll do the opposite. In everyone. So look at the torture. And in another place in the Qur'an, the people of Musa who just believed, they said, we were tortured and we were humiliated before you came. And now we are again, and we cannot do this. Now, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى مُوسَى. This is in the poet. We have revealed to Musa, and أَسْرِ بِعِبَادِي. Move in the night. لَيْلًا. In the night, take them and move. Where? What is going to happen? That's when you have the belief. When you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never let you down. Subhanallah, this is very hard. Every time you read this story, Sayyidina Musa, you wonder when Allah tests us with this small test. And when he says, isbir, or when he says, it's going to be better. Even when I say this to myself, so he told him, awhayna, I mean, that was revealed to him. Now remember, Sayyidina Musa, Kalimullah, he was the only prophet who Allah talked to him. And he said, take them. And he didn't say, you are going to be saved. Look at the ayah. I'm going to say it in Arabic and translate. وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى مُوسَى أَنْ أَسْرِ بِعِبَادِي إِنَّكُمْ مُتَّبَعُونَ. Musa, we revealed to Musa, take my servants, meaning those who believed. Take them in the night, but you will be followed. Will that make you strong, or that makes you even more scared? When I tell you, you know what, we're gonna leave in the night, right? But I am sure they're gonna follow us. You're more careful, but إِنَّكُمْ مُتَّبَعُونَ, meaning they will follow you. Now, how many people left with Musa? They say it's about 630,000 people left. Yeah, huge. Now Fir'aun came to him. Now, can you imagine? Now think of you when you have someone who really keep making you upset. And the more you get upset, the more your reaction is more brutal and cruel. So Fir'aun now, it's worse. Now he lost. Now they are running away from him. So now he has to keep his ego, right? فأرسل في المدائن حاشرين. He starts sending messengers. I need everyone to come. Right? And then there are few people. Look at the ego. There are few people, but they upset us. So we need to take care of them. They are 640,000. But there are few. This is exactly in the Quran. إنهم لشرذمة قليلون. There are few people who really worth nothing. وإنهم لنا لغائظون. But they upset us and made us angry. So we're going to take care of them. Meaning for them and for everybody else. Don't you dare doing it. So how many people came out with Fir'aun? I mean, there is different numbers. But the one I found in Imam al-Tabari, 760 just in front of Fir'aun. 760,000. 760,000 in front of Pharaoh going, including on horses, including full armed army. And Musa is going, moving, and they are behind them. They reached a point. فأتبعوهم مشرقين. In the morning, Fir'aun left, because during the day, you can see them. They are 6,000 more. So early morning, and they say once the sun rises, he left and took all this entourage with him. And then what happened? They get very close. And the term in the Quran, Allah used, قال أصحاب موسى إنا لمدركون. They gonna come and get us. They saw them eye to eye. Eye to eye. How much is the space? So this is the eloquency of the Quran. Inna lamudrakun. They didn't say we are seeing them. They didn't say they are too close. They said they are gonna come and catch us. Mudrakun meaning when you are running and I'm running behind you. When you say adraktini, meaning you are very close. You're almost there. Inna lamudrakun. Those people who just believed, who just left everything because they knew Allah is the truth, they knew Sayyidina Musa is the Nabi, start having fear. Inna lamudrakun. Now the response of Sayyidina Musa. Now I need you to feel it. Millions behind you, and you are taking a lot of people with you, and you are going to the sea, but you don't know what's going to happen, because so far Allah did not tell you. And I'm going to tell you the dua Sayyidina Musa did, an amazing dua he read. He reached to the sea, and then Sayyidina Musa of course talks to Allah and talks to others. So he said sea, and he has his stick with him, but he's not using the stick. He said sea, infalaq, open up. And the sea said, no, why should I do it for you? I was created before you. Subhanallah, done. Sayyidina Musa turned to Allah. And before he made the dua, he saw that the sea became very wild. The waves are becoming high, and there's a wind, you can hear it. And then he turned to Allah and says the following, and I'm going to read it in Arabic. يا من كان قبل كل شيء والمكون لكل شيء والكائن بعد كل شيء. He turned to Allah and says, you are the one who you were there before anything was there. And you are the one who makes everything and creates everything. And you are the one who's going to stay after everything is gone. And what did he say, the dua? اجعل لنا مخرجا. Give me a way out. Give me a way out. Now remember, this is the thousands, millions behind you, including Pharaoh. And he promised his people that this is what Allah told him. Leave. Leave meaning you're saved. And even in one of the commentaries they said, one of the righteous people with him, Mu'minu Ali Fir'aun, the believer from the people of Fir'aun, looked at him and says, you told us to leave. Where are we going? Imagine, only him. He made this dua, and then he turned to them and he says, Kalla inna ma'i rabbi sayahdeen. No answer of the dua yet, but he made the dua. He looked at them and says, no, Allah. No, he didn't say Allah. He says, with me is Allah. Inna ma'i, with me is Allah. سيهديني. He's going to find a way out for me. What a belief is this? Immediately in the surah, immediately, if you read it, next ayah, فَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى مُوسَى. Now the second revelation, the second talk. First one, leave. This one is immediately. You hit the sea with your stick. Immediately, فَانْفَلَقَ. I looked at actually some pictures of it. Some people start imagining what really happened. Now, if you look into the sea, the bottom of the sea, what do you see? Have you looked into the bottom of the sea? Of course it is dark, but what is the geography of it? It's actually mountains. Mountains, if you go down, 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 they are like mountains, because the earth, when Allah created, it's like this, and then water came in and then became seas. So the depth is actually mountains. And in between mountains, there's always paths, right? That's how it is. You have big mountains and then you have paths. Where? In between. Hear what Allah did. He said this word, كَلَّا إِنَّ مَعِيَ رَبِّي سَيَهْدِينِ. No, he didn't shook up. He didn't say, what did I do? He didn't say, why did I leave? Immediately, there is no sign of way out. But he said this dua, and he knows Allah heard him, and he turned to his people and he said, Allah with me is my Lord. He's going to guide me. So he hit the sea. Can you imagine? I mean, if you have a swimming pool in the house, not even a swimming, fill the sink with water and hit with a stick, what's going to happen? Nothing. Splash on us. Imagine this is in fear, thousands is with you, and the enemy is just behind you. You see him, and they see you. So he hit. The sea became 12 parts. And each part, the waves moved to the side, and they are so high, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the sea like ice, so it doesn't move. And the bottom of the sea is there. And in another place, Allah says in Surah Taha, فَاضْرِبْ بِعَصَاكَ الْبَحْرَ لَا تَخَافُ دَرَكًا نضرب لك طريقا في البحر يبسا لا تخاف دركا ولا تخشى. We're gonna make it a dry path. Don't worry, you're not gonna drown. And this is the sea. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it huge, massive mountains. طود, Allah used the word طود. And a طود in the Arabic language is not mountains. Mountains is jibal. But when you say طود, that means it's huge. It's not like the skyline. It is not. It's huge. But because it is wave, have you seen the tsunami? Of course, we all seen the pictures of the tsunami. How high it was. What is it, 20 feet, 50 feet? This is not massive. But then when tsunami is there, what happens? They go up, 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 and then they fall down. This is not enough for the 600,000 to move. So Allah made it go up and made it ice, so it doesn't move. So the people of Fir'aun can move. And the people of Musa, can move. So they moved. In the same story, of course, Fir'aun is very close. So he's following them very close. And they said, in one of the scholars, they said, Allah sent Jibreel. And Jibreel was between them, between the people of Musa and the Fir'aun. Here. He looked at the people of Moses and says, hurry up quickly. And he turned to the people of Fir'aun and he said, people in the back, quickly come in, be all together. When the last soldier was coming out of the sea from Sayyidina Musa, and the last soldier from Pharaoh was entering the sea, Allah made this ice, massive mountains, water again. And that's how they were drowned. So imagine, it goes up like that. Have you seen people who do surfing? Right? It's the same. If you want to imagine it, like surfing, they go up and then it goes down. So when it went up, Allah made it as an ice. So it stays till all the people move. And all the Fir'aun people are in there, and then he made it water again and went on them. The people of Musa, Bani Israel, they, out of the fear, they didn't believe that Pharaoh can die. Imagine, subhanAllah, what's in their heart. So they said to Musa, we don't think he died. Basically, show us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's how we still have up till these days, we have their bodies, yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from all the thousands and thousands, brought Fir'aun out on the shore. And even they said he was like red color, and the people of Bani Israel saw him. Come in here, and look back. So now you learn the story. What made Sayyidina Musa say the word, Kalla, inna ma'iya, with me, my Lord. Ma'i. This is, they call it, there's a special, ma'i mean with me. So there's a special people who, everyone, Allah is with them. Right? Allah knows everybody. Allah knows what we do. Allah is engulfing, and He can see everything we're saying, we're doing, we did, and we will do. That's everybody. Believer, Muslim, non-Muslim, kafir. So this is not what Sayyidina Musa was talking about. He was talking about the special one. And they call it Ma'iyyatul Hifz. When Allah protects you, you only. When Allah chooses from all these thousands, He saves you. He gives you. And you wonder why. In this case, that's what Allah did. He protected him, but He didn't do it immediately. He protected him, He saved him, but He didn't do it right away. I was reading this and I was thinking, couldn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the moment the magicians believed and Fir'aun sent and says, you know what, these people are really making us angry, let us kill them. Couldn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that moment bring the sea on them? Not only to remember the story of Sayyidina Musa, and this is one of the reasons it's repeated in the Qur'an, because it is with Bani Israel, and he went through the same difficulties Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam was going through. Right? And then that's when any time there's an incident where Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam was telling people, of course, calling people to Allah, and they were hurting him. And the Sahaba came to him feeling sad for him. And he said, my brother Musa was hurted way more than this. Subhanallah. So you wonder why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's hikmah in everything. And this is actually in Surah Al-Shu'ara, every story of the prophets and end up, Inna rabbaka lahuwa al-azizur rahim. Your Lord is all might, and He's all merciful. So He did not do it right away. He let him go through the test. He let him feel the difficulty because he was not alone and responsible for himself only. He have a nation behind him, plus the whole religion that he's carrying. But what is Allah teaching me and you? This is what we learn from the stories. Stories is beautiful to tell, and you say, wow, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His mightiness. That's absolutely one part. But what do I and you learn? That Allah brings victory in different ways than what we think, or what we plan, and what we want. Number one. Number two, He really look and see how much we rely on Him. That's why I titled it as the unlimited, resilient reliance on Allah. He wants to see how much you really believe that Allah will save you, will save me. Because we can say things, but when the moment comes in, how many stay firm on this like Sayyidina Musa? How many? So He wanted to show us that what I want from you, as we call it, as-sidqu fi talab, that you are sincere in asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are sincere in your reliance. And wait, it's going to come. It's not going to come right away. Could be coming right away. But with Sayyidina Musa, it didn't come right away. In fact, what came right away was the fear, was the shock, the possibility of losing. But then when he turned to him, this is why I read the dua to you, is when he turned to him and he said, you are the one, save me. Allah immediately saved him. And this reminds me of exactly the same, what happened with the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam in Badr, in the Battle of Badr. The Battle of Badr, which some of you, and probably most of you, is aware of, it's the first battle that happened in Medina. And then it was completely unequal. There were almost 1,000 of the non-believers, mushrikeen, and there was only 300 of the Sahaba. 300. And these are it. It's not like there's thousands behind and these came out. It's that's it. Few stayed in Medina, but the majority went with the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. And when the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam saw the mushrikeen, he saw the non-believers, and he saw their numbers, he actually was worried. Now you're going to say Rasul alayhi salam should not be worried, and Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam should not be afraid. But I'm going to read to you his dua in Badr, and I want you to compare it with the dua of Sayyidina Musa. It's almost the same. So he looked, and he was very concerned, because if these 300 will be killed, there's nobody else. There's nobody else who's going to carry this deen, because this is it. This is no more. So he looked at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is one of the reasons we put our hands up, and they said in Badr he put it up that you can see his pits, his axillary pits. And he turned to Allah and he says the following, and there's many du'as, but this one is in Muslim. And he turned to Allah and says, Allahumma anjizni ma wa'adtani. Ya Allah, show me and give me what you promised me. Allahumma atini ma wa'adtani, twice. Ya Allah, give it to me. Give it to me right now, ma wa'adtani. And then he turned to him and says, Ya Allah, if this group will die, who will worship you on this earth? This dua before the battle. If these people will die, who will worship you on this earth? And they won. And this is one of the amazing things. 300 people with minimum weapons they didn't have. And all these non-believers, and with Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, all these came in with all their artillery and all their weapons and everything they can. And these were only 300. The power of two things. Relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only relying with dua, with certainty, yaqeen, belief that He will not let you down. Whatever happens, He will not let you down, because He knows you are sincere with Him. So when you come to Ashura, and subhanAllah, amazing also, it's the beginning of the year. It's the first month of the year, Muharram. And it is a sacred month. It's a month that we are supposed to do a lot of good deeds, and we should stay away totally, if we can, as much as we can, from disobedience. فَلَا تَظْلِمُوا فِيهِنَّ أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do not wrongdo yourself. Do not disobey Allah in this month. This is the first month of the year. The 10th day, that's the time. Now remember, who choose times? Who choose when happens what? Allah. Nothing is coincidence. SubhanAllah. What Allah wants to remind me in the beginning of the year. Right? The New Year resolution we all talk about. We should. And what does this New Year should remind me, let alone Ashura? Many, many things. But one of the first thing comes to your mind, we're still alive. Alhamdulillah. I can still rectify what happens, and I can still do good deed. Number one. Number two, each one of us is tested, have been tested, will be tested. If Allah tested Musa in this way, and by the way, this is not the first test to Sayyidina Musa. And after this, and this is inshallah, and another time we talk about Sayyidina Musa, there is even a bigger test is going to come. So you say, that's it, victory, alhamdulillah, all these people with me, 600, 700,000 with me. After less than few years, even less, when Allah called Sayyidina Musa to meet him, these people turned and started worshipping calf. So, meaning, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed a test, but what a test to Sayyidina Musa, Next is Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. And if you go in between them, all of them, then I am going to be tested. But what does he want to remind me? The year is coming, tests is coming, but also it's your opportunity to learn and remember. And Allah is reminding me. If I was able to save Musa, if I was able to save Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, he cannot save me and you. He cannot make me strong, you and me. He can. Absolutely he can. But he needs the yaqeen of Sayyidina Musa. The yaqeen of Sayyidina Musa that yes, you can. And remember all this, all the time, always. When you see, I remember one of the people was with me this year in Arafah, and they made this dua of Badr when it was really raining. And at one point we're really worried because there's all these hujjaj, all these people coming for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this dua came to her. And she turned to Allah and says, Ya Allah, push it away from us. If these people will die, who will worship you? SubhanAllah, when it comes to you, I mean, of course there's millions, but these people came to worship you. Point is when you need something from Allah, be sincere, number one. Have no doubt Allah will give it to you, especially in the need, and especially when it is in dire need. Most of the dua comes immediately. I mean, not all the dua comes immediately. But when you are in need and you are sincere and you have full belief, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do that. It is going to happen. So Ashura for me, and that's why I have to fast. And how many days actually I need to fast? Because Muharram, and that's another thing we have to learn. Muharram is the month that Allah, Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam said, no days more beloved to me after Ramadan to fast, Shahrullah. Actually, no days, the fasting, please forgive me, the fasting is more beloved to Allah. Other than Ramadan is Shahrullah. He called it the month of Allah. This one, the month of Allah. Why fasting? Now you also have to think. Why fasting? Why not charity? It's a good deed. Why not doing extra salah? Why specifically mentioned fasting? You control the nafs, but because another hadith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, it's hadith Qudsi, where he says, الصوم لي وأنا أجزي به. Fasting is for me, and I will reward for it. How much Allah knows. You turned to me and asked me, and I gave you. It's a personal relationship now. Sayyidina Musa did not turn to anybody. On the contrary, the people with him, they said, you promised us nothing is happening. The sea is in front of us. Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam felt it that there may be danger. Turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fully, Allah responded immediately. How should I respond? Did you get the point? So the point is fast also because Allah saved you specifically. Then fast for Him specifically. And the reward is for you because Allah said fasting is for me. Fasting is for me, is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So one of the beautiful things we do, now if we could not fast yesterday or the day before, people have different reasons. And Allah knows we all wanted to fast. Then you still have 20 days. Today is the 11th, there's still another 19 days of the month. As much as you can fast. And every time you fast, remember Sayyidina Musa. And remember the difficulties he went. When I and you go through difficulties, is not what they went through. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him, and I always say this, as you saved Sayyidina Musa, as you gave victory to Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, you can give victory to us. You can save us. You can, whatever I need, even if it's a small, but it's a need. I want it, whether it's my child, whether it is me, whether it's my family. What he wants from me, which that's what we need to work on. And I think this is number one message or lesson from the story of Sayyidina Musa is you're truthful in your dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you turn to him and says, Ya Allah, give it to me. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. حي على الفلاح. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. حي على لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه تسليما كثيرا. Next week we will do it after Maghrib, inshallah, so we have better time. Anyone wants? We all have, alhamdulillah. You're off, right?